Mm. Okay, so let us get started. So today we'll focus on how to schedule. What are the different types of scheduling, and in Python, how can you schedule? One is that. Second is how to use. There is one popular client called as Postman. How do you use it to test your APIs or to input the data and so on? And then we'll also create an UI page so that it becomes like a complete project, at least at the POC level. And then probably tomorrow we'll try to identify what are the things that needs to be done for a product. And then tomorrow we'll put together, deploy it, and build a pipeline. So that will be probably end of the session. Like that's the like goal of the session. We have achieved a little bit faster because we are like only few people and there are like no questions and things like that. So that's the target. So target is build the project, a POC, and then make it like production ready, and then put it onto the deploy onto a server. I'll try to find some server, it's like Amazon in AWS or like some other server, or else we can, if nothing is found, we can deploy it on local server as well, and then we can. It was the same way, and then we will realize like in real world, in software engineering world, how do we deploy that using a pipeline. Probably we'll use GitHub Actions or Jenkins. I'll show both of them, and then we can close the bootcamp. I think probably two classes are sufficient for that. Okay. So far, yesterday we looked at one thing, which is like we put the components and created an aggregator function, and then we tried to run. We got some errors and we solved those errors, understanding what is happening inside that. So that helps you to like, it's like a debugging session. So nothing goes in one shot. So the other, I didn't want to teach in a way that you already build a project and then you just showcase the parts of the code. But I want you to show like what are the like practical errors that comes, and then nothing goes easily in one shot. So that's the message that we got yesterday. And today we will learn about something which we don't know at all, and how UIs work along with APIs. Okay. So we have created one API, right? So using Flask, the API is, I think, probably something like V1, something like that, and subscribe. So this API tries to collect the data of subscribers. Okay. So and then we're going to integrate with UI. So at the development end, so far what we have done is we have used curl, which is a command line client for um, web. So which is like, it is you can think of it as a UI-less browser where we send a request and you get a response, which is actually same response that is from the server. From the browser, you see a nice UI, but for in the backend, you just see the text, right? So that we studied about this, and we built our own client, client I think .py or something like that. This is using request library. Okay, so I'll show you today one more popular client called as Postman, where you can use it for testing the APIs. So that will help you to like visualize what's happening in the backend, and it has a nice UI. Okay, and then we'll ask GPT to create a one-page UI that it can integrate this API. Okay, and we don't have to understand complete code of UI because we are not worried about UI currently. And if somebody wants to take the UI part, and then make it, design it in a way that we design in corporates. So that's a different thing. That's like a UI development stuff that we are doing. But for now, we just need one page API where it can take the inputs from the subscriber. Okay. Before that, I'll just talk about Postman. So I'll show you how it looks. The drawings. So you can download Postman in your laptop, and this is the UI. So, and you can uh, create. Okay, there are like collections and all these things. You can create a new query like this. These are different kinds of queries. Okay, so currently we're just focused on HTTP, and there is like GraphQL. There are so many. You can see that the web has changed so much that there are so many protocols and things like. So we are just worried about this HTTP, and let me just create one REST API blank collection. I'll just its collection is nothing but a sort of folder. Okay, so I'll say Python project. Okay, and I'll just add a request. And the request is before the request, we also should be having. Okay. So what should be our request? The URL, and then uh, you have the inputs, right? So where was that? Send mail, not this here. Client. Okay, here. And API server. API server, we haven't run the API server from yesterday's code. So I'll just bring it to project folder, move it, and then even the client, I'll just bring it here so that this is the folder that we are worried about. So let us look at our now. Of course, we whenever we jump into code, right? From say last week we have done, and now we come back. It's obvious and it's natural to like forget things. So that is the reason we need to document. Okay. So since it's a small piece of code, like it's just simple code, so we can just glance it and understand. But imagine we have like thousands of lines and things like that. So it's difficult to like connect the dots. That is the reason you should always have a picture, which is coming from high level document and a high level design document and low level design document. So once you see that, it's like okay, you got the map of how things are working, and then look into code and it gets mapped. Okay, so that's about tip about how it works. So what was the API? This was the API. Okay, so let me just copy the API. So this is a client. This is one of the clients. So I just wanted to show how the Postman works. Exactly same thing. Inputs are same because it's based on protocol, right? This is the input, this is the URL that we are going to use, and let us just uh, send a request and let us understand what it is doing. Okay, send. We can see that I got 403 forbidden. This is exactly same thing if I send the curl request. In fact, in Python there are so not Python in Postman. This is a popular tool, and uh, th- this particular tool has got a lot of goodies in the sense that, for example, you are using this, and you want once you test the API, you want to take that snippet and put it in your testing. So there is this code. You can go here and you can choose what sort of code you want to see. It can auto generate curl, and this is exactly same thing that we stated here. So let me not here. Just create a new terminal. Okay. So let me just copy paste it. This P paste it. So this is what it internally. So there are different clients, right? This is one of the clients. Curl is one of the client, Postman, and you can generate um, generate the output. Okay, so we are not seeing any output. You can see that this is hyphen V stands for verbose mode. It will output if there are any errors. You can see that you got an error saying that 403 forbidden and all these things. Okay, left intact. So it is connected. So server is running in the backend, but this is not supported 403. And why we have got that is quite simple, because we have already done this exercise. So coming back to code snippets, you can generate code snippets for a lot of languages. So let us just go to like Python. Where is Python? Here. Yeah. So there are multiple libraries in Python. So we are worried about, or you currently using? We are currently using request library. So there is also HTTP client library similar to request, but underlying things are same. So because it is operated on protocol. In fact, you can write your own client. So that's what people have done to this. You can see that it has generated the code here. So similar code that we have at here, right? So this is almost the same thing. A request, and we are sending a request and something we are doing. Okay. I did. So this is one of the popular tools, and why we want you to be familiar with this whenever you develop APIs. Use Postman because it's handy. You can see stuff. And now coming back to 403 forbidden, that is because you can see that these are the operations that we had in HTTP, right? This is like what sort of operations where we need to do it on that particular endpoint, which is on the URL, universal resource locator. So we're trying to get something. So get is not supported. Why get is not supported? If you go back to the code, we are trying to input the where is the API server here? This part of the code. This part of the code. This is our endpoint we have defined, and the methods that we have allowed is just post. We have not allowed get. So that is the reason it says that 403 forbidden, and exactly same thing that is happening here. Curl is same thing in the backend, but Postman gives you a nice interface. Now let us just take post, and I'll just send request and try to understand what happens. Okay. Let us look at the error. Okay. So you can see that I sent a request, and you see that something is happening again. Okay. Why is it happening? We'll just try to understand. Okay. So going back to code, post is allowed, but there is something which is like stopping us to send the request. That is coming from, we are okay. Let us see the server. Let me see if it's running in the backend. The Python project. Where are the terminals? Terminal. It terminal. No, this is the only terminal that we have. Okay, let me just try to run this server. Python 3 API server dot. Server is running here. What's the port? By default, it should be. Let's go back here, push it. Now you can see that the server was down. Okay, and probably okay. Now you can see that we got a different error. That is, and you can see the request that is sent from any client, it is captured here because we are in debug mode. So you can see a lot of logs like this. And you can see that the people who have developed this particular uh, library, which is Flask, they have got their own logs. This we haven't put. So this is the log that we are able to see. You can see that there is a timestamp and there are different levels that we have discussed. And this is the endpoint that it is hitting, and this is the error that we are getting. Okay. So the reason that we are not getting we are getting this hitting this error is simple, because we are not providing any input currently. So let us, what is the input that we are trying to provide? Let us go back to our client. We are just mapping from this uh, client.py. Input that we are giving is this. Okay. This is the input that is it is expecting. So there are different parts of the request, right? One is the headers. Headers is nothing but what you are sending and so on. And then there is also something called as body of that um, request. And within that body, we are sending some text here, which is a JSON text. Okay. So this is what we want to update. So this is the data that we want to send it to server, and server will take that and put that into database, right? So that is missing here. Let's go back here and try to put it here. Okay. So you can use like this raw, and we don't require the variables because that is specific for Python. So this is okay. Let me just change the name. So let me just send, and let's see what is happening. You can see that now we got 201 created. So in this UI, it is much more easy, and it's aesthetically pleasing to see the output and all these things, right? So this is one of the important tools that you need to be aware of. So let us go back to the code and see did we get on the request. So this was the server we are running, and we got this particular request, and request is served. 201 means created. So this is what is this. This is the code that it has uh, that we are verifying this through this client. So if you go to API server, we have it got this request, which is here, and then the method is post and receive data and all these things. So you can actually see here. Where is it? Here. If there is no exceptions, this is what we are getting. This is the message. So JSONify is a function which JSONifies the response. Okay. So this was a text, and it has got it JSONified. That's all. So this is how you use Postman. Okay. Now let us try to build. So this is for testing, right? Now we'll build an UI, and I'll how to ask um, this GitHub Copilot to build an UI. Okay. So now let us remember what are the things that we do in prompt engineering. So one is the task itself, which the task here is to create a UI uh, to take these inputs. Okay. And then we I don't want it to build a complete UI, so I'm going to restrict the agent to build a simple UI, and not to go beyond the requirement. Simple one-page UI, and then yeah, that should be good, because once it is generated, we can reiterate over it. Okay, so I want to build UI for API. I'm going to paste this API, which takes in email ID and name and email ID as input. I need one page simple UI. Yeah, that should be good enough. I've restricted it. Examples we don't want any. In fact, so if you're building a much more sophisticated UI, you can actually take a screenshot and upload it here, add the context and tell this that, okay, build something similar to this, and it will build it. Okay. So I'll just ask it, create an HTML. So let me create, okay, it is great. It is creating. You can see that it has just started this subscriber.html. And you don't have to worry about HTML much, but it's quite simple. If you just read through it, it's like, okay, this is HTML, some tags. In between tags, there are some values. And there are like subscribe. If you look at the UI, you'll come to know, okay? So you can just look at that. But for us, what is most important is, where is this particular API called within UI? Okay? That's what we are worried about. So you can see that it has created simple form, and then once it has created, it has done something like this. So this is where your JavaScript code, as you know now that entire internet is driven by HTML and JavaScript. So this is a JavaScript snippet. So you can see that it's a script, and script means it's a JavaScript. There is no other script which can replace JavaScript at the moment to a scale where it is operating. Okay, so this is just like fetch, subscribe something. So this is exactly what we are doing on our code, which is client here, client.py. Okay, but this script is not going to be used by end users, right? End users are going to put something in the UI, right? So exactly same thing, but using the where is it? Okay, using the JavaScript. Okay, so don't worry about internal things. So that is one of the things that you need to keep in mind. You don't have to understand everything in the parts of the code which is just serving it as a which you don't modify it too frequently, or you are not an expert, but you can just create it and just make it in such a way that it is just serving the purpose. So for example, we are not worried about UI code at all. We just looked at, okay, what it is stating and just glanced it, finish. And then let us see how it, okay, subscribe.html, it has been created, simple UI. And now we can open the file in UI. Okay, now it is saying that I can open this in UI. Okay, so let me just accept this. So let me ask, do I need to run any UI server? I'll just ask here, not in agent mode, UI server to be able to run this. Okay. So this is one. Generally, what happens is UI itself has its own server. It will be running in 8080 port, which is exposed to the external world, and that internally is connected to backend world, and things work seamlessly. Okay, but since it is it's a simple HTML file. So it says, no, you don't necessarily need to dedicate a UI server. You just click on this. Okay, so let me just click on this. Let's see if it works. subscribe.html. Okay. How do I open this? Go here, and you can see open to the side. Open with. Let me just open. Go to the OP path, and let me go to the browser here. I'll just click on this. Click on okay. You can see that this is the sub HTML page that it has rendered. So this code, HTML subscribe.html, when I try to access using the browser, so this is how it renders. So your Chrome or any this one. So if you just go to view page source, this is exactly the same code that it has written, right? We just saw it. Okay. So now let us try to input something. Enter your name, enter your email ID. Let us see if it works. Subscribe, and error occurred. So something else is going wrong. Now let us look at this. Okay, subscriber added successfully, but it is showing um, some error, but subscriber is added successfully. Okay, so now let us look at how to handle this in in UI. Okay, now let us see. Okay, since I'm not you know let me try. So how do you debug such things, right? So the basic things you already know is you go to inspect, and this exercise we have already done, and you can try to debug. So just for now you think that you do not have access to the backend at all. So how do you go to this place? So this is your page, and right click and open inspect, and then go to network, and do again something like, okay. So let me just refresh it. To, so let me click on subscribe. You can see something is happening here. So you can see the request that is going out here, and um, you can also see the response. Okay, so fail to response, fail to load the response data. So let us see what is the error, and then we'll try to understand. So if it's beyond request payload, this is the payload, right? This is the payload that we are sending, which is we are sending using client.py, as well as we are sending using postman. So let us look at response. Fail to load the response. Okay. Now let us see what are the errors here. Okay. Error failed. So what is the error? Some cause error. Okay. So either you can look up and understand what it means, or you can say that um, let me just get status post or where do I copy this, and you can solve this. But in the backend, it is working because we are able to see the request here. Oh, let me see whether did we. Oh, we are not receiving it. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me fix that. It looks like backend API, which is running on port 5000, is not okay. This is an old one. Uh, we're not even getting the response request here. Okay, I I saw this and I thought I'm getting, but this is the old one. Okay, let us try to debug it. So it looks like backend. So now we know the components, right? So backend is running on 5000 port number, and how do we know that? Is by default it creates 5000, and this is what we tried and it worked. Okay, so just running on Perl is not um, connected to UI. Okay, let me just tell this. So this is how I'm trying to debug. So I have got a HTML page, and um, it has not sent the data to this particular. Um, yeah, issue is likely due to the fact that the front end has trying to make a request, but backend API is okay. Explicitly, this is in ask mode. Okay, now we understood what is happening. Okay, now let us just okay, um, and then you can also see that um, steps resolve, update the fetch URL to this one. Okay, this is since we are in ask mode, it has not done anything, and run the backend API which is already running. Okay, handle the cors if needed. The cors is some error we'll understand shortly, and add the following in API server to avoid the cors error. Serve the HTML file via HTTP optional, and this is what I was talking. Okay, so this is how uh, generally the UI gets hosted on a set on this. So here we are using the same API server. So these are the things like you send an error, understand what are the parts of this request, what it takes to integrate, and once you understand it, you can go to ask mode, sorry, agent mode, and then you can say that okay, let me see if it works. Okay, let us make those changes. Let's see if this has got context. You can see that it is trying to access this. Now it is giving complete path. But generally what happens is since uh, UI, so this is the generic way. So usually this is how we call UI calls the backend, and this gets connected to the UI server, and from there it knows where to connect. Okay, that configuration we have not done, so that is beyond our scope. But just remember that you don't have to specify the complete path about IP address and all these things, because this can change, because currently we are using localhost. Tomorrow we can use some other hosted device and all these things, right? So like AWS or some other address. So to make this work, we have just make these changes, and let us see what else it has changed. Three files changed, main.py, and then also send mail. Okay, not here, sorry, not this. It must have changed. Changed. Where is it? Not that. So what is the API server dot server? Okay, here. I hope it has made the changes. Okay, let us just try to see what it has done. We're going to access it again through the UI. Do let us test it. Let us see if the request has come back to us. You can see that it's still not coming here. So let us ask it again. Say that we okay. UI changes are done, but still not able to send the data to backend API. Uh, API also getting Cars error. Sure. Okay, cars is done. Okay, let us keep this. And okay, it is saying no module. I have added the library. Okay, let us install it. Next, ensure console install. Okay. Pip 3 install Flask cars. Is there local bin? There are multiple. So let me just run this again. No more. Okay. No module named V environment. Okay. We haven't studied about virtual environment. I'll talk about it in a while. No permission. Little bit about virtual environment now that we have encountered some error and we did something. Let me see if it's working now. No, okay, it's not installed here, I guess. Let me just install Flask. So we have already installed it, but it is complaining. I will understand why. Okay. Uh, okay. So I'll just take a pen. Little bit about virtual environment. Generally, your agents will automatically create, but you need to be aware of what it means. Okay. So you know that when we install Python on your machine, so what it installs in the backend is your Python virtual machine, right? And then which is connected to your operating, it is running on your operating system. So whenever you are trying to uh, install any package uh, on top of this Python, so this is basically an installation, right? It will be available somewhere in user local bin on so on. You can choose where to install as well. Bin/Python. So that is your command path. So when what it means to install a library is quite simple. So you are trying to download a file or download files or modules from internet, right? When we do pip install, that is what it does. So we learned about it during our like what is pip and all this packages. So we're downloading that and Python package managers, which is nothing but our pip. So these are like Python package managers, right? There are a couple of more like Anaconda and so on. But this is one of the popular ones. So this is by default, it comes with Python. So what this does is it unzips or it installs that in certain path. So once you have installed Python here, user bin, local bin. So this is accessible to every everybody who is using this machine, and you can run it anywhere. So it may so happen that you have multiple versions of Python running. For example, the global one, which is installed across the operating system, could be 3.5. Now, probably you want another installation which needs 3.8. You can have another installation which is Python 3.11. So now we have multiple versions of Python, and how do we tell that use this particular version? Okay, so this is the problem. So if you are installing it globally, if you have 3.5 and you install 3.8, it will overwrite 3.5 and then it will install 3.8. So 3.5 won't be available anymore. So the idea behind virtual environment is quite simple. You create your own folders and tell where to install. So now, for example, you are in user local lib. I can install right in my project. This is just a folder, okay, called as v.venv. Dot stands for hidden folders in Linux. So it is just a folder, and then whenever you install everything here instead of installing in global path. So that is called as virtual environment. Okay, so do not get you know confused, or it's not a high level topic. So because it sounds like virtual environment means something is running in the backend, and there is an environment created, and there is like sophistication behind that. So there is no sophistication. It is just that you are installing your Python and Python libraries in this folder. And how do you activate this, in the sense that how do you make sure that whenever you type Python, it is pointing to this Python, not the global one? So that is nothing but activating the environment. When you activate uh, your prompt will change here. So how do you activate? There is a activate file which is here. Uh, this is the file. So this is a shell script. You don't have to read it. This is a shell script. You can see that there is a dollar here, right? So it means shell script. VS Code parses it as shell script. Whenever it looks at .sh files, it will add this icon. Okay. So you just copy the path and just type in here as source. Source is a command where it dumps or executes the shell script on the current terminal. It does not create a new terminal and run. So the difference between running sh activate and source activate is that it does not create a new shell. It executes in the current shell. Okay, but yeah, if you are new to Linux, don't worry about this. Just type this command, source activate. In fact, you can ask GPT, how do I have virtual environment created in this folder. How do I um, activate the virtual environment? So if you just ask that, it will create that. So within this folder, we have got a lot of libraries. So the errors that we have got here saying that no module named Flask course is because we had activated this environment, and this particular folder does not have this particular library. So yeah, so this is how you can manage multiple Python versions. In fact, you can have multiple different versions of the same library. So if you have a project which is running Flask course, this version, you can see that 5.0.1 version. You can also have some other version in some other different virtual environment. Probably it is like 4.9.0, something like that. Okay, so you can use that as well. So that is how you manage your different types of Python installations and different types of versions of the libraries. So that is about virtual environment. So that's the simple concept. Yeah, they don't have to think too much on that. Okay. So now you can see that within this library, since we have installed Flask course, you can see that it has created a Flask course, and these are the modules developed by Flask developers. So sorry, this Flask course developers. You can actually see the source code. Okay. So you can see, even you can see the Flask's source code as well. Okay, so this is different from creating .so libraries or .o libraries in C++. In fact, jar libraries in Java. So in Python, you can see that these are all just scripts. So that is how we are like when you install, you see .py files directly here where you can look at the source code directly. Okay. So yeah, that's about virtual environment and where it gets installed. Okay. Now if I do Python, I don't want to do like the it since I have activated this environment, it is opening the Python where this Python, this Python version. Okay. So 3.11.3 is the version that it has. So now, okay, now coming back to our this one. So now we have installed. Now let us try to. So these are the like general errors that you get. So now we have installed required libraries, and now this is running. Okay. So what was our problem? Our problem was we are unable to access the UI and stuff like that, right? So let us say, how do I run this? Okay, let's see if it has got initialize, route, subscribe. Okay, now let us go next step. Okay, so uh, how to access UI? Let's see if it does something different. Also subscribe.html, Python, API server, it is already ready. Or you should be able to send the web request to backend. Okay. Now let us try it again. So let us just verify if this is working. I'm just changing the strings because I don't want duplicates. Okay, this is working fine. That means backend is working fine. This is just for our verification. So once you do this, you are confident that backend is working. So this is how you test. You can use curl as well, but yeah, this is what we have started using. You can use that. Let us go to UI. Where is UI? Okay, here. Now let us try to send this. Now let us come back and see if, okay, refresh this. Uh, now you can see that we got a slightly different error for node 3. You can see that localhost error failed, something like this. Okay. So once you refresh, what happens is you will fetch the new code, which is already, it's not cached in the browser. Okay. And something is um, wrong. For 403 forbidden. Now let us see what is happening. So request is this one. And preview response headers. Okay. Now let us see the backend if you are getting the request. You can see that have I got a request? No, no, I have not got request. Again, looks like backend is still not um, accessible by accessible by UI. Uh, uh, Now we're in agent mode. Let's see what are the changes. Subscriber already has the subscriber. However, backend is not still running. Okay, not accessible. Okay, there might be an issue with the backend server not running. Okay, okay, backend run, but backend server is running already. Pip install issue persist. Let me know. Backend install Flask course. It's already running. Let's look at the code here. 5,000. Okay, this is actually okay. Uh, let's backend is active. Okay. Um, Backend is running all ready. Install Course ensure this is running. Okay. Pip install Flask course. It's already done. It's installed already. It takes some patience to get things. So generally, what happens is we get frustrated and then we sort of find shortcuts and jump out of it, or we lose interest and then we think like, why am I even doing this, and so on. So that is the like roadblock. Once you cross that roadblock and you understand that, okay, this is what it takes to build something, so it becomes part of your like nature to not to get frustrated and keep calm, and because you already know the design, you know that code is working, and you're trying to connect some new component to this, so which means that you have already come so far, so which means it's your patience is already uh, giving you the right outcome. It's fruitful, but one more component is causing the problem. So that mental block is something which you need to fight it out, and it becomes your part of your nature. Okay. So let us see what is that it has changed. Okay, if the Flask is already installed, backend is running, and localhost API server updated also to run all network interfaces, ensure the correct port is used. Okay, okay, and then okay, let's keep this. It has started this one again, and let us go back to UI and see if it works. Now it is saying method not allowed. Okay, why is it not allowed? What method are we sending? Look at this. Okay, we are sending the get method, which is not right. UI seems to be sending get request. It is uh, it is a post moderation. It's in uh, text in. Okay, it's a post operation. Okay, that should be good enough. Let's see. Since this is a get request, substance JavaScript, ensure that process. I will double check this and say, okay. Now let us go back here. You can see that it's modifying here. Has been modified to ensure also. Okay. Post. Okay. Local host. Okay. Let us do this. Okay. By error. See that get API is well on for not found. Not found. So it is trying to um, access, but it is getting 405. Let us do something here. This substrate has updated. Yeah, has this updated? Okay, and let me go back here and refresh. Okay, not this. Was that UI? Here is it? Not this. Sorry. Oh, it was that subscribe dot. This is direct API, right? Go to subscribe HTML. Let us copy the path completely. Go back. Yeah. Paste it. Switch. Okay, it's open in another tab. Okay. Okay. Uh, and just press subscribe. Let's see what's happening. Let's see that there is some error. Subscribe and 403 forbidden. What is forbidden? Let us see what is the response. No response. Request method options. Why it is setting options? Okay. Here, response, payload, preview, no response, strict origin, headers. Okay. Still 403 forbidden. I'm going to take this and ask it. Since we do not know about UI, right? So we are struggling to build it. So, but once you sort of fix that error, this UI is able to, let us just for cross verification, let us just click on server, go back here. Yes, not connected. And I don't see any request on backend. Browsers referrals, okay. Browser console errors, command, okay. Backend logs. Okay, let's see backend logs. If something is coming here, no, doesn't have anything. So not this server, this one. Let's see if there are any logs. No? Now we can see that I'll ask here is mobile. We can analyze logs as well. Method not download. Already uploaded JavaScript. Okay. Browser cache. Okay, probably browser cache. Older version cache. Blur to and check the console. What? Let us try to open. And if that's the case of this one, I can try to open and in incognito mode with this. It is, let us say this root test Gmail on. Okay, again, there is some error. This is not reached here. Now let us look at. So the reason that I opened and incognito mode is because incognito mode does not use the cache. So it was complaining that the cache could be a problem. So let us just inspect this and see what's happening. Let us refresh again. Let me submit it. It's like status 403 pre-flight, something like this. Course error. I can see course error and pre-flight 403 pre-flight. Okay, let me just remember that. Go back here. Getting course error and 403 pre-flight error. So this is helping us to understand how actually UI works with the browser and how do we fix that. Okay. Let me do the best explicitly. Okay, it's generating the pre-flight request to ensure proper configuration. So these are the CORS related. CORS stands for, I think, cross origin, something like that. The cross origin request, something like that. You can read about how browser works, but yeah, we're trying to make things work in the browser. That's our goal. Okay, so let us. Okay, now cross origins. Something is happening now. Let's go back and try to do it again. Refresh. This browser. Let me do it here. Okay, still I'm getting this error. Okay, we just it may take a few minutes more, or I'll I'll try to fix this. Let us pick from this point, and yeah, it should be easy, but it takes some time to understand what's happening. But when you're working on the project, these are the things that you will face, right? Okay, the backend is working. Now you're trying to make UI work because we want a complete project, and this is something. It's like a black box for us. So with the help of, if you are a UI developer, you would have known already about what is this course error and things like that. Okay, but since we are not UI developers, we are trying to like glue this part, UI part, to our backend so that we have a a working product. Okay. So, and this, all the things that we are facing, different errors, and we solved some of the errors, and we're stepping up. And these are the things that you generally face, and then you can use this and solve it. So we'll do it tomorrow as well. We'll start from here and understand how it works. I'll try to solve it, and then help you guys to understand what is happening in the backend. Not in the backend, I mean UI. And yeah, we'll catch from this point of time. So yeah, we have learned about packages like virtual environments. I wanted to cover scheduling. It's about 10-minute um, concept. So yeah, let us fix this, and then let us try to run it in a schedule. Then it should be working. Then we can deploy. Okay. So we'll look at this tomorrow from the same point that we have left, because we just ran out of time. I don't want you guys to like uh, uh, spend a lot of time on this, because I think you guys have to go to office or something like that. Okay, yeah, see you tomorrow. But yeah, but just remember that these are the usual things that you face when you develop something. Okay, see you guys. Okay, we'll start from here tomorrow. See you.